So also it kind of starts out in a certain place that, of course, it probably isn't going to be at later on. But there's lots and lots of complaints, and of course, some people think it's great. I think it's got potential, just like any other Star Trek show. And you can't beat the production values. So also, some people think the Orville is better. The Orville is shaping up as pretty decent. It's kind of listed in the descriptions as comedy drama, which is understandable because sometimes it's kind of dramatic and it could be a little bit more humorous and crazy. I guess that's not really how it was meant to be. And plus, Seth MacFarlane is probably trying to set it apart from Family Man and American Dad. And of course, the uniforms and all that are so obviously Star Trek inspired. Last episode, it looked like the writers did the writers did unlike most people, watch the short-lived early '70s science fiction show The Star Lost, but because they kind of did something with the same basic premise without really copying it. They just took the same basic premise and did a different thing with it, almost like what if Star Lost was resolved. And there was also an episode. The episode before that was understandably considered by some people the Star Trekiest episode of them all because they dealt with a kind of a social issue and all that. And seeing Brooklyn Nine-Nine came. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is this season is off to a pretty good start too. They even had Lou Diamond Phillips guest star. And well, what can I say? It's still pretty potent, and pretty funny. I really like Melissa Fumero. And plus, all the cops, most of the cops in here, like the captain, the two supervisor guys, the captain and the guy below him, they had a little bit to do, and it was fairly amusing. And Lou Diamond Phillips was obviously having lots of fun, and it's kind of amusing how they kind of at one point took off on smuggling. And there's Will and Grace. Will and Grace, The Next Generation, started recently, and it's great to see them again. It's like visiting old friends again. It brings back memories, and of course the two, Deborah Messing and Megan Mullally. They're such lovely ladies, and voluptuous Megan Mullally makes us love her Karen character, even though Karen doesn't really have the best character in the world. She's really a self-absorbed, callous substance abuser, but Megan Mullally makes us love her. They're just terrific. And of course, Eric McCormick and Sean Hayes are real good too, as these sort of contrasting gays. And they don't all look that much older. Well, it hasn't been that long, but they don't look too much older because it's been 11 years, not like it's been 30 years. And it's just nice to see them back again. And even though it kind of seems like in order to start the show up again, just as an excuse to do so, they seem to roll everything's back to the way it was. They had gone through changes and all that sort of thing, and the show is as much as possible like the way it was, but it's probably because they want to play it safe, because a lot of sequel shows and Next Generation shows, people complain about anything that's different from the original show. Even though some people now might complain otherwise that it's the same old thing, but it was well done. And see, Empire, the age-old amnesia gambit. It seems to be working pretty well because the effect of amnesia on Lucius Lyon. I mean, it's kind of interesting because he was always kind of a monster of a patriarch, and now he kind of seems to think that about his family, because now that he forgot that he was who he was, namely, such a petty monster user guy. He seems to, he's real nice, and he seems to not have the best outlook on the family, and they want him back and all that, and that's all I'll say about that. And I see that not Courtney Cox, Demi Moore is in there, and she looks great, and so that, of course, looks like it's going to be used to great effect, not just because she looks great. And I just love Taraji P. Henson ever since she played, every woman, police woman on Person of Interest. I've kind of, the only thing good about what happened to her while the show was still going was that it afforded her a bigger part on Empire, when, Empire came along not too long afterwards, and she really struck her stuff. And also, actually, American Horror Story is a fall show, because it'll be done like in November, October, or something like that, since it comes out in the fall. And I see, of course, there's a lot of great blurbs about it, and it's pretty good. It's kind of, you always wonder where they're going to go with it. And I just adore Sarah Paulson. Yeah, they're able to get good acting out of the actors. And Sarah Paulson was always cute, but I especially started liking her even more when she played Marcia Clark in the American Crime Story first season, which was about OJ. So, So basically, American Horror Story. The opening seems not really creepy, but satirical and even kind of silly. Even the music kind of is, because the melody could be more foreboding and all that, but it's done in an almost satirical type of thing with the, because there's a lot of political. I don't know about satire, but it kind of started out that way because everybody, people overacted in polarized ways about the election of Donald Trump. So, it's like the people that supported Trump, they're real extreme. The people that were against Trump were so sure, not even hopeful, but so sure that Clinton was going to win, and it didn't happen. And so I don't know what they're going to do with that. But of course, back to Saturday Night Live, they still just about every episode still starts out with Alec Baldwin as as our current commander-in-chief, and of course he does do a good job exaggerating Donald Trump, sort of always angry looking. In fact, Donald Trump almost looks kind of like a baby, kind of that look on his face. But yeah, they do that all the time, and so Saturday Night Live, they still have they have a good cast, so they haven't had a lot of turnover. Sometimes I wonder if I would actually, even in my dreams, go to New York and try to be a Saturday Night Live person, a Saturday Night Live star. So, but it's real rigorous. Anyway, so that's pretty much my summary of some of the shows I've watched that have come back. I believe that Riverdale hasn't come back, and Once Upon a Time comes back. So after some of those shows come back, and I have to keep tabs on Fresh Off the Boat. Anyway, that's pretty much my summary on the shows I watch. I don't know what you guys watch, but anyway, if you like, this rambling about television, just hit that like button. Ciao, everybody in TV land.